In this Q&A video, we're going to answer the question, do I need to bond a suspended ceiling grid? This question relates to a video we made on the Tuflex tile from Marshall Tuflex, which is a product we absolutely love because it reduces the need to chop up plywood on site to go behind ceiling tiles when mounting recessed lights and the like. So do please go and check out that video after watching this one. But let's think about this question. You do see it from time to time, don't you? Especially on older installations where a connection has been made from the earth terminal of a lay-in light fitting to the grid of the suspended ceiling. And sometimes it's taken even further, and the L bracket around the side has a green and yellow link from one piece to another in the corner. But is any of this necessary? Well, there's two types of conductive material in a building that may need connecting to the main earthing terminal of an installation, these being exposed and extraneous conductive parts, and BS 7671 defines them as follows. An exposed conductive part is a conductive part of equipment which can be touched and which is not normally live, but which can become live under fault conditions. The simple way to remember it is that this is a metal component which is actually part of the electrical installation and which can become live under fault conditions. So things like metal casings of single insulated equipment and containment like conduit or trunking, although not cable tray, as we've explained in another video. And the definition of an extraneous conductive part is a part liable to introduce a potential, generally earth potential, and not forming part of the electrical installation. So again, think of this as being something extra to or outside the electrical installation and which could give a good connection to the literal earth that we walk around on. This could include metal pipes for water or gas or oil, as long as it does in fact introduce an earth potential. Again, check out the video we've made showing why you may not need to bond as many pipes as you think you do. So the question now is, does that ceiling grid fall into either of these categories? Well, is it part of the electrical installation? Absolutely not. You may come across installations where the cables have been thrown over the grid and it's seen as some kind of built-in cable support. It should absolutely not be used for this purpose. If cabling has been installed like this, the solution is not to earth the grid, but rather to provide proper support for the cables. So it's not part of the electrical installation, therefore it's not an exposed conductive part, so you wouldn't earth it for this reason. But is it an extraneous conductive part? Well, remember that to qualify as an extraneous conductive part, it has to introduce a potential, generally earth potential, into the property, which means that it has to have really good contact with the physical earth that we walk around on. And it's very unlikely that it would be doing that. Therefore, it's not an extraneous conductive part, and so it won't need connecting to earth. Now, it's normally at this point in the video that people start to think, ah yes, but what about? For example, when I made the video pointing out that cable tray generally doesn't need bonding, there were various comments outlining situations in which it could become live and therefore should be bonded. I'll just give you one example. Now, this is really not to have a go at anyone's opinions or thought processes or anything like that, but someone outlined a situation where a forklift truck smacked into and dislodged some cables which dangled down and came to rest on a metal tray. So surely the tray being connected to earth would have been a good thing in that circumstance. Now, that is a thought-provoking question and it did give me pause. I know, they still look like hands, but it's kind of a trap to think this way because you could end up thinking about this endlessly. So what if the cables got knocked by the forklift and came to rest on a metal door handle? Someone on the other side could have come along and touched the door handle and got a shock. So should we have connected the door handle to earth? It's a bit of an extreme illustration, but it makes the point that actually what would have been better would be to think about the installation and the risks to the cabling. So at the design stage, it should have been identified that a forklift truck was to operate in that area, and so additional mechanical protection was required for the cables, or perhaps an alternative route should have been found for them. So coming back to our ceiling grids, we've covered the fact that we shouldn't be using them to support cables. But we may be thinking, well, what happens if a fault occurs in a fitting that's sitting in the ceiling grid? Won't that then cause the grid to become live? Well, Volume 1 of Snags and Solutions by the NIC EIC comments on this, making the point that any electrical equipment installed in a suspended ceiling would normally either be Class 1 or Class 2. If it's Class 2, then even if the outer shell is made of metal and rests on the ceiling grid, this class of equipment should be made in such a way that a fault occurring inside it can't result in fault current flowing into any conductive parts with which the equipment may be in contact. So in other words, a fault in the equipment won't lead to the metal grid it's touching becoming live. What about Class 1 equipment though? A fault in that could lead to the metal casing becoming live, which, if it's resting in the ceiling grid, could then also become live. Well, maybe, but if the casing of the equipment is earthed as it should be, then the parts of the grid will experience earthing via what the Snags and Solutions guide calls fortuitous contact. It concludes by stating that in normal circumstances there is no need to arrange for the conductive parts of the ceiling to be connected to either a main bonding conductor or to any supplementary bonding conductor. So in short, the answer is, generally speaking, no, the ceiling grid won't need earthing or bonding. If you'd like to know more about earthing and bonding, check out these videos right here. Thank you very much for watching.